Monthly update for the month of June, folks. We are standing here 1st of July on the eve of the new Nations Championship. It's going to be a fascinating new competition. I know there's kind of divided opinions about whether it is beneficial for the game overall, because people will miss the old kind of 3-match tours of the Southern Hemisphere from the Northern teams. Certainly logistically, it's a very big challenge with teams having to travel a lot of air miles to travel between places like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Argentina, South Africa, and whatnot. So, yeah, we're still going to look forward to it. It'll still be a massive month of rugby as we get that underway. But before we get to that, let's take a quick look back at June for this channel and for rugby news generally, because there are a few news stories out as well. Antoine Dupont is going to miss the Southern Tour, despite being named as one of those players going to be joining up with the French squad. He's now out. The ANZAC test has been announced between the Wallabies and the All Blacks, which I think I'm kind of excited about, and I'll get to my reasons why in a sec. And the Poison Chalice coaching role has claimed its latest victim. Before all that, though, I need to show you guys this new rugby jersey, which I have. Placed it out of arm's reach. That was smart. Over here is this new jersey, which I got from my man, Frankie. This is the Blues jersey from this current season just gone here in Super Rugby. I met up with Frankie the other day, had a coffee with him, and he gifted me this very, very kindly. So cheers, Frankie, along with some beers as well. Gave me this Blues rugby jersey. I ranked this one number 1 in my jersey rankings for Super Rugby this year. Basically, this one, it's a nostalgic jersey. They themed the Super Rugby jerseys, some of them this year, on the kind of the retro theme from the 90s. So this one really gave me vibes from my childhood. And like every other human, I think I'm pretty susceptible to the warm fuzzies from that kind of thing. So cheers to Frankie for this. I will certainly wear that with a bit of pride. It was good to catch up and put a face to the name and have a chat, because he's been on the live streams and whatnot for a number of years now. So cheers, Frankie, for the new jersey. Stats and thanks for the channel. Firstly, thank you guys for being here. I look forward to welcoming back all the people who only really tune in at Test Rugby season. There are just some people who don't really follow club rugby. I get that. Sometimes people leave comments saying, like, have you been on holiday for the last 6 months or what? It's good to see you back, Mark. I'm always here. It's just some people don't follow, like Super Rugby, URC, Champions Cup, that kind of thing. So if you're back for the internationals, welcome back. You'll be itching to get yourselves back into some Test Rugby as well. Where are you all watching from? The geographies are pretty similar as it always is, but the order sometimes changes. This month it's South Africa 1, New Zealand 2, Australia 3, Ireland 4, UK 5. Sometimes France sneaks into the top 5 during the Six Nations. Outside of the top countries, we also had 95 views from Tanzania. So welcome along to all the people from Tanzania watching. It might just be one dedicated person watching. And then I always do like to drill down onto the cities. There was one from South Africa called Mashishing. That's a hell of a name. 10 views from there. It used to be called Lindenberg, apparently. Mashishing. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. I apologize, but welcome along. 10 views from Rush in Ireland. I thought that was just a cool name. Rush. Apparently it's near Dublin. And I never look at the New Zealand names because I'm familiar with most of them. But Gore. 10 views from Gore. Down in the deep south. Isn't Justin Marshall from Gore? Anyway, Gore. No, he's from Mataura. Anyway. From the deep south, so welcome along to any viewers from that. I've been through Gore, but I didn't stop for too long in Gore. It was during COVID. Thank you guys for being here, no matter where you're watching from. 92% men, 7% women, 1% I guess unregistered, but yeah, that's actually not as imbalanced as it has been in the past. It used to be kind of 99% dudes, so welcome along. And yeah, the age groups are once again pretty evenly spread out, with 35 to 44-year-olds edging it. What channels do you guys watch apart from this one? It says you guys watch Egg Chasers, you watch the DSPN, you watch Squidge, so you got a good mixture of different channels there. And for live streams, you guys like the Kiwi Lads. So there you go. So those stats were kind of interesting. I always find them interesting to drill down on. One thing that is interesting is YouTube's got this AI kind of helper thing, which can help you as the creator look up stats and whatnot. And you can interact with it like ChatGPT or any other kind of AI chatbot. And it can give you advice. And its advice to me was basically make more clickbait controversial content. I don't really want to do that, even though it does very well. I hope you guys appreciate. I feel like one of the the best things about this channel and the community in the comments is generally we're pretty level-headed and we don't go for scandal and clickbait too much. I hope you guys like that. We could certainly do more clickbait stuff and probably get more viewers along, but I don't think I would enjoy that. So that's just by the by. YouTube's own chatbot basically told me that. It said, hey, tap into the human emotion. People want to see hot takes and like controversial takes and whatnot. So that's just what that is. But I hope you guys enjoy being here. I certainly enjoy having you on. I also need to say quick thanks to the patrons who support the channel every month. That includes Frankie and Angus and all these people here. That's the same Frankie who bought the jersey. So if you guys want to get a bit more 2 cents content or just support the channel generally, down in the description there is that. Also, there are channel memberships which you can sign up for called Gazamania in honor of my late father, although we named that before he passed away. But yeah, support the channel if you enjoy being here. Now, the news of the day. Antoine Dupont is out with a calf injury, and I'm sure everyone is going to take this news in a measured and calm way. But then there'll be people who say, geez, dude just doesn't want to travel to the Southern Hemisphere. He's scared of coming down south. He was always going to miss the New Zealand leg of the tour because the top 14 final was literally this weekend gone, and the game against the All Blacks was literally this weekend. So there would have been no prep time for the top 14 final players anyhow. But there's a couple of guys, or a handful of guys from Toulouse in particular, who will be able to play the Aussies and then play the Japanese. Antoine was initially named in that bunch. The French coaching staff said, you know, he wanted to be there. He chose to come. But unfortunately, he picked up a calf injury in that top 14 final, so has since been withdrawn. So that sucks. Top 14 season is really long, though. It's hard to blame a guy for wanting to win, what is it, like his 4th top 14 final in a row. The guy, whether you like him, hate him, think he's overrated, underrated, think he's one of the best players in the world or not, he certainly, at French club rugby and French Six Nations, he's got some medals and has got some titles, and I like watching the guy play. It would have been cracking to see him down in Australia ahead of next year's World Cup, but it's not going to be. So he's got to get his calf right. And to be fair, Luku and Ligarek and whatnot in the squad, and Grau, who's replaced Dupont, they're all pretty good players as well. France are not exactly lacking good number 9s, but it certainly would have helped the hype train of the Australia game if Dupont was available. Speaking of the Wallabies, ANZAC tests have been confirmed for the Wallabies and the All Blacks for 2027, 2029, and 2031. So the interesting thing about those is, if you don't know when ANZAC Day is, it's the end of April, 25th of April, which is smack bang in the middle of that zone where we don't have any test matches. Like, we finished the Six Nations in like March, and then we don't have any men's tier 1 like test matches until July. So there's a big, I don't want to call it a dry spell. For this channel, I certainly noticed the numbers are lower in club rugby months because, like I said, some people just only follow tests. And here in New Zealand and here in Auckland in particular, I notice the rugby league chat goes up a lot because a lot of people don't follow Super Rugby. They will follow the All Blacks. So I, for one, am just quietly excited to see what impact the ANZAC test has, because it will mean the All Blacks conversation is in the mix earlier, and it makes rugby union a bit more prominent in the early NRL season. That's the league season here in Auckland. It does, unfortunately, do the thing which I don't like, which takes a little bit away from Super Rugby. I don't like the fact that, you know, there's so much messaging essentially in the way like players get rested for All Blacks duties. They have to sit out a certain number of games and whatnot. It sends the messaging to the fans that you don't need to care about Super Rugby. You only need to care about the All Blacks. This maybe adds to that a little bit, because the players who play in the ANZAC tests will have to have the previous week off Super Rugby. They won't be able to play Super Rugby the week before the ANZAC tests. They'll need a week in camp to prepare. But I feel like the costs in that regard are outweighed by the benefits of just having that All Blacks form, Wallabies form conversation in the piece earlier, and then who stands out in the ANZAC test maybe makes the squad in June, July kind of period. So I am quietly excited to see how it goes. I think it could be a pretty good idea. So, yeah, just Australia and New Zealand playing over in Brisbane. It's going to be on a Friday afternoon on ANZAC Day, or roundabout ANZAC Day, which is the 25th of April. Yeah, I am keen to see what impact it can have, because it will, as I said, make the rugby union conversation more prominent in a time when a lot of people aren't talking about it, at least in this neck of the woods. Also, the Poison Chalice. Which team am I talking about? I'm talking about the Waratahs. The Waratahs have lost another coach. Dan McKellar has stood aside from the job. This coaching job just keeps claiming coach after coach. They sign good players. They have good potential. They're like one of the rugby heartlands in Australia, and they just cannot get things right. Since Michael Cheika won the thing with the Waratahs and then left, they've basically not really had a successful time. Dan McKellar has now left after a pretty ineffective couple of years, sadly. Darren Coleman before him had really high potential, having won the MLR and whatnot. Didn't get it done. Rob Penny won with the Crusaders, won Super Rugby since leaving the Waratahs, but he had a bad time with the Waratahs. Daryl Gibson, he had like a 43% or 44% win rate with the Waratahs, and he's the best of those last four coaches. It didn't do his coaching career any favors either. So who takes over the Waratahs, I don't know, but it feels like the Blues used to be like that. Like, we went through John Kerwin, went through Tana Umaga, went through Pat Lam. We went through a number of coaches before we finally got back to being a decent team. I don't know what's rotten with the Waratahs, but something is not good, because they have better players than the results that we see on the field from them. But anyway, that is the monthly update. Thank you again to Frankie for the jersey. Thank you all for being here, for subscribing, for following on Patreon and being channel members and doing the Buy Me a Beer thing. It's really, really greatly appreciated. It keeps the channel afloat. For commenting and liking and all that usual YouTube stuff. I love being here. I love chatting rugby with you all. Hope you're all good and looking forward to Test Match Rugby on the horizon. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.